Hey, welcome to Five Lakes Garage, the home of random projects. We have lists, we have Jeeps, we have trucks, we have food. You name it, we got it. So help out the channel by just hitting that subscribe button. And if you like the video, go ahead and like it. And if you really like the video, like it and then tell a friend. But stay tuned, enjoy yourself. I'm gonna let you go because I got stuff to do. Hey, welcome back to the channel, and today we're actually going to finish the trailer project. We need to move some brackets, we need to finish welding up this back half on it and kind of give you the finished product. So, alright, went to the store this morning to pick up new brackets and hangers and U-bolts and stuff like that. They had the U-bolts, fantastic. A little on the expensive side, but hey, that's fine. Hopefully this will be on there for many years to come. They also had some of the other brackets that I probably will not be able to cut off the actual frame of this thing, only because when I welded it up there, I welded all the way around it. I did drill some holes, did some rosette welds, but you're not getting it off. So I'm just gonna cut it off, but I need a new one. So I got a new kit, spent more than I wanted to, but I went to go get some leaf spring hangers for these axles, which are these guys, and they wanted like 12 bucks a piece. I started doing the math. All right, 12 bucks, that's, and I need 4 of them. That's almost 50 bucks just in those hangers. And I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna cut these damn things off. So that's pretty much what I did. I just took a cutoff wheel. They were only halfway welded anyway. So I cut those off. I'm gonna grind them down to make sure that they're nice and beveled. And then I'm gonna re-weld them onto these axles. So what I'm gonna do now is go ahead and put these axles on the trailer itself. Once I get all that in there, I'm going to tack it, put some U-bolts on it to make sure it doesn't move. And then once I do that, then I'll be able to take the spindles off of the old axles and put them on the new axles. So once I get that done, then we're going to see what is next. So come on and join me. Let's get at least this thing on its own weight and see how low it is. All right, everything's ground down. It is nice and clean. Just want a couple quick tips here. All right, so we got 3 different discs for my cutoff wheel. For cutting off, you grab yourself a really thin one. I believe this is only a 1/16 of an inch thick. And it is a basically a cutoff wheel. You should be able to cut steel. It throws a lot of sparks, but it does do the job. And then you have your disc. Now this is a 4.5 inch, this is a 24 grit. This will actually take off a lot of material really quickly. That, and they're relatively cheap. The only thing about these things here is make sure that your cutoff wheel doesn't go above 13,000 RPM. This one does not, so we're in good shape, but this one get all the big stuff off. So all your welds and that type of stuff will kind of smooth them out. But then, once you get done with that, you use a flat disc. Now this one right here is a 60 grit, so it cuts off a lot of material. It also gets rid of paint, it gets rid of everything else, but it makes it a lot smoother. If you just use the disc for the, not the flat wheel, but the actual stone, then it's going to leave grooves everywhere. The flat disc actually flexes a little bit and smooths it right out, and it looks pretty darn good. All right, so also went through all of my hangers here. They're nice and clean. So what I'm going to do now is get these guys underneath. Almost there. All right, so far it is actually turning out pretty good. Like I said before, there's not a lot of space in between the suspension and the frame itself, and that's the main reason why I wanted to put it underneath. Now I'm still going to get my 4 inches of drop from the old setup, only because the old one was a straight axle. It's already sitting lower. I don't even have the wheels on yet. But the next step was what I'm going to do. The reason why I put them on jack stands, I got one on all 4 sides so that it will lay under its own weight. So these guys here should be perfectly up and down. And then I can go through, measure everything off. You got to measure, you know, from the flange to the leaf spring or to the top of the frame itself. So we're looking at about 3 1/4. Hopefully I'll have 3 1/4 on the other side. We want to make sure that it is spaced back and forth. And then when we redo the brackets for the leaf springs, probably push them back a little bit. We need to do a lot more measuring on that, and I'll show you how to do that here in a little bit. But so far, it is looking good. I'm excited. Gonna be lower, it's gonna be more capable. We're gonna put some gussets in it, make it nice and strong, because I really don't want a runaway trailer, because that would suck. Anyway, all right, so these guys should be perfectly up and down. I'm gonna take some measurements, and then I'm gonna tack these guys in so that it will not move. Another thing you wanna do, all right, so right underneath here, it's all this bare metal. What I'm gonna do is actually, since I got everything mocked up and it's actually in place, I'm gonna take these off and I'm gonna hit it with some of this stuff here. It's called weld through primer, and it's exactly what it says. You can weld right through this stuff, but you don't wanna leave that bare steel because it will rust, and it's gonna rust quickly. So I'm just gonna drop one at a time, spray it, put it back on, and then tack them where I want them to be, and then I'll take it all off and then actually burn it in permanently. And then once I get that in, I'll mock it right back up, put the spindles on, make sure the tires clear everything, and then we should be ready to go to the next phase, which would be set it down on the tires, put everything level, and then measure off for our dovetail to make sure it was not going to be too low. So yeah, weld through primer. I picked this up from O'Reilly's. The only thing is though, is that you have to ask for them. They don't have any out on the floor, at least the ones that I've talked to. They do have them in the back of the shop, so you have to ask for it. So weld through primer. Get some. Bam! All right, so the axles are in. I went ahead and tacked all 4 of the purchase. I do need to pull them out to actually fully weld them all the way in. Best thing you need to do is actually get these guys straight. You gotta get them narrow. You gotta make sure all your measurements are right before you burn it in, because it just sucks trying to cut them off. So you need a tape measure, you need an angle finder, and you need a straight edge. So basically you take the straight edge and run it down the flange, go to the frame. Now I've already checked on both sides. It's about 3 1/2 on this side, 3 1/2 on that side. It should be enough to be able to clear the tires. It's actually outboarded just a little bit more than the old ones, so that should be at least a little bit better. There's some spots on the frame I got to clean up. And then also you want to make sure that it is, because these are dropped, they're not the straight axle. That's where your angle finder comes in. So clear off a spot on the frame or on this trailer itself. You're going to find out what it is. All right, so I've already adjusted the front to actually make sure it is at 0. Then you come out here and put it right on your flange. Make sure they match. If you have them kick to the side, kick to the other side, it's not going to run properly. So we want to make sure that they are perfectly up and down. Now the next step would be to tighten up all of the hangers just so they don't move. And then we're going to go ahead and swap the hubs and then put tires on it. Then we can finally work on the back half of it. All right, here we go. So here's a hub that I took off before. I did have this on the trailer, but I needed to have trailer brakes, so I actually swapped these out. These were underneath the workbench. So all the bearings have been packed, so we're not going to worry about that right now. I might do another video on how to pack bearings. But what you do need to know is how this is actually configured. So you have your inner bearing and you have your outer bearing. Now there are races in there. I've already packed these bearings, so I'm not going to do that right now. It also has a dust cover. Now, I've already demonstrated how to put this on a few seconds ago, but it was not recording, so I'm going to do this again. So you got your hub, that is on. You also have your giant nut. There's a washer right behind it. And basically what you want to do is stick your hub on. You got your seal. So you have your seal, then you have your inner bearing. So make sure all that is clean. You're gonna slide that on, put your outer bearing on, a washer, and then your castle nut. And then once you tighten your castle nut down, you wanna tighten it down so much where it's really hard to turn. Then you're gonna back it off just a little bit, enough to, one, make sure it rolls freely, and also to be able to get your cotta pin inside your castle nut. Now the good thing about these particular axles right here is that it does have a zerk fitting. And what that's gonna be for is that you probably will never have to take this hub off again. And as long as you keep grease in it. Usually if it's not a greasable setup, you will need to take everything off and actually repack your bearings about every few years. If you run a lot in the rain, you might want to do it a little bit earlier. But yeah, this stuff should be ready to go. I'm gonna put my dust cover back on. There you go. All right, one hub on. Okay, so real quick, this is a trailer brake setup. Now this is pretty much your hub. Yeah, it's a little rusty, but I haven't used it in a little bit. Still got your seal, you got your inner bearing, you got your outer bearing, and also your washer, castle nut, everything that's set up on the other side. This right here is actually what makes it different. It is actually our basic drum brake setup, same thing you have in the back of your car, well, at least older cars. There is an electromagnet sitting right here, and what that's going to do is that your electrical current from your vehicle is going to come through the two wires, hit that electromagnet, and spread these out. That's how you get your trailer brakes. Now you do have to realize that there is a right side and a left side. It should be stamped on the back, mostly because you have the brake side and you got the trailing side of your actually brake shoes, and it is very important not to mix those up. So I have 4 bolts on the back side of this thing. I'm going to pull that off, put it on the new one, and then we'll have trailer brakes once again. Then we get to do electrical. Yay. All right, finally the trailer is on all 4 wheels. It is at the ride height in which it is going to be. Now I went ahead and leveled off the trailer best I could. And how you do that is take yourself an angle finder. It's got a little magnet on the bottom. We're gonna stick it on the deck of the trailer. And it's right around 0 degrees. So that's pretty much level. And then you stick it onto your rail, and now we're at 10 degrees. Now at 10 degrees of slope, we're looking at approximately 10.5 inches of ground clearance on the back of the trailer. Now that would be great. I don't have to have ramps. I can just take the Jeep, drive right on, and we should be good to go. It's not so much of a slope that it shouldn't cause issues with speed bumps and that type of stuff, railroad tracks. But if we got to drag it, we'll drag it. But I think we're good there. So we're going to do a 10-degree slope. So I got to cut all of the support legs to 10 degrees on this side. And then once I get all that done, then it's a nice long process. Cutting that off, cutting these off. I can possibly reuse those. That's a lot of weld up there. My buddy Eric and his son put those up there, and he's got a much bigger weld than I do. But those got to get cut off. This got to cut off all the way in the back. This needs to be a clean slate all the way across. Once we cut those into 10 degrees, then I will bevel those, and then we'll be able to weld all those up there, and then also weld the back section. So let's hit the music, and let's throw some sparks. All right, so the rear end actually is all welded in. It is where it's gonna be. I have my 10-degree cuts up here. It's got to bevel it so I can actually attach it to the back of the trailer. But I was gonna hopefully show you some welding porn, but I think I need to get a new lens for my mask. I can't see squat. It is so hot in here, it keeps fogging up. Sweat keeps getting into it. I think I might have it just going a little bit too dark, but some of the stuff I can see, some of the stuff I can't. but it's up there. It's not gonna go anywhere. It's just some of the stuff we might need to put a grinder on it if somebody's gonna look at it. But anyway, all right, we're moving right along. So let's cue the music again. We'll do a little time lapse so you don't have to waste your time watching me do the same thing over and over and over and over again. Okay, let's go. Just got some water. All right, the whole back part of it is cleaned off. Holy crap, Eric. Do we really need that much weld? This thing was never gonna come off, so I do appreciate that, but it was a little bit of an overkill. All right, so the dovetail is on. It is not completely welded in. I still have to do that, but I just wanted you to see it. A couple of safety tips. One, actually it's not really a safety tip, but just a tip. If you're trying to record yourself, make sure the batteries are charged. So much work, no footage. Sorry about that. But you will be able to see the finished product. So it is roughly 10 degrees. I did change it slightly just to give it a little bit up a little bit. It's about 12 inches off the ground in the back. I figured that would help me out a little bit if we're rocked up and down. Also, wow, I didn't measure right. This one here was a 1/2 inch off. This one was a 1/4 inch off, but had to do some extra cutting, extra grinding, but it is now in there and it is square. So what you want to do is take your tape measure, find your tape measure, here we go. You're going to take it from that corner to that corner, which is 80 inches. And you can take it from this corner and this corner, which is about 80 1/4. I'm a little bit off, but that's all right. It is going to be sturdy, and once I get all this stuff welded in, I will throw some 2x6s, 2x8s, whatever I have on hand in the back here, because I would like to put some steel back here, but I do not have the steel yet. But I do have a bunch of scrap 2x6s, 2x12s, 2x whatever, and I'm going to stick this back in there. Luckily, a lot of these welds will be hidden because they're coming out awful. Strong, but awful. Some of them are really good, some of them are not. All right. I'm gonna burn this in so I can get rid of all the jack stands and clean up a little bit because I can't move. All right, now it's time to come clean. I apologize. I said I was gonna have this done in this video. I just did a mental list of all the stuff that's left, and there's no way. I can't get all that stuff done because we still need to flip this thing over, cut off all the suspension. We got to move the suspension, make sure that is square. We got to put gussets on the sides over here for our dovetail because even though I trust my welds, but just in case, I'm going to put a couple gussets. Yeah, so if you're going to tackle this type of project at home, just know it is going to take you a little bit of time. People wonder why these trailers are so expensive. Well, it's a lot of welding, a lot of material. And you use a lot of tools, and if you don't have the tools, you got to make the tools, which I had to make some tools, but it's okay. Anyway, it's a lot of progress for one day. I think I'm gonna get changed and go jump in the pool because it has been sweltering hot today. So anyway, check us out for part 3, I guess. Sorry for making it so many different episodes, but check out for part 3 when we move the suspension. Hopefully wrap things up and put the Jeep on it to make sure that it rides okay. And maybe I can put it on the back of the Tacoma. Tacoma's 6,500 pound capacity. This trailer, 1,000-ish. CJ about 3-ish, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to weigh it. I'll tell you what, I'm going to get it on the trailer and then we're going to get to the dump and we're going to weigh it. Anyway, check us out next time and hopefully we'll have this thing done. But holy crap, I'm tired. It has been a hot day. It's been in the mid-90s and a lot of humidity. So anyway, take it easy, have fun. Catch you guys later.